Hello, this is Phil from Tim and Phil Talk About Games. Today it is yet again going to be just Phil Talks About Games, as Tim's hard drive has exploded into little bitty pieces, which tremendously reduces his ability to record videos and do all that kind of stuff. So today I am flying solo, and I am reviewing the Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls expansion, and also the ensuing version 2.1 major patch that happened after its release. Now, if you've listened to any of our podcasts before, you'll know that Tim and I tend to take the piss out of Diablo 3 a bit. It was a really dreadful game upon release. The auction house was a poorly conceived, blatantly economic decision that Blizzard seemed to have based their entire gameplay experience around. Having to run through the game at least 5 times to unlock all the difficulties was a throwback to the days when that was kind of an acceptable artificial difficulty increase. The storyline was unbelievably bad, the voice acting was terrible, and the loot system, the casino-like addictive gameplay mechanic that basically underpinned the entirety of D1 and D2, was geared towards hardcore players and the auction house, getting as many high-value items in the auction house so that people would pay real money for it. To put it bluntly, at launch, Diablo 3 was atrocious, and that's coming from a massive fanboy of D2. So, with the release of Reaper of Souls and the massive 2.0 and 2.1 patches, the question becomes, have they fixed it? The answer is, sort of. The storyline still really sucks, and the various plot points don't do much more than guide you through a few checkpoints and some pretty environments. The way some of the new enemies spawn can be pretty annoying, since the idea is that they're getting possessed by the Angel of Death, Phill. So you'll be staring at this innocent bystander, kind of waiting for the sweeping blue wind to come along and convert them into an enemy that you know is going to happen, so that you can click them to death before moving on. But besides that, the new enemies are relatively varied and offer a bit more of a challenge in terms of how you position your character, rather than just simply contributing to your inevitable death due to RSI. But the whole point of the expansion is really just to get your character to level 70, since that's when you'll be able to take advantage of the new game modes. I'll quickly mention Seasons before going into Adventure mode, because Seasons is kind of a lot simpler, easier to grasp. Seasons are basically a way to encourage players to play through the game for specific rewards, to kind of encourage people to spend more time playing through the main storyline, playing through the game, just kind of as an incentive for people to try out new things. Just like a game like Hearthstone, which Blizzard also make, has seasons during which the player can earn unique card backs for ranking up against opponents, Diablo 3 now has time-limited seasons during which players can try and level their characters up to level 70 to earn specific legendaries, sets, and cosmetic items. It's a fun distraction, and it's a really good way to experience some of the classes you may not have played, by getting a bunch of friends together, all creating new characters and running through the game. Now, that's over. That's pretty much Seasons. Like, there's not really that much more than that. There are leaderboards, which you'll never ever get anywhere near the top of, because there are very dedicated people out there on launch day that basically ran through the entire game in about an hour. So there's not very much point to that. But like I said, it can be really fun to just grab a whole bunch of friends and just run through the game, absolutely smashing everything and trying to get through it as fast as possible. Anyway, so that's Seasons. Now, to Adventure mode. Adventure mode is the mode for those who love the loot. In Adventure mode, bounties will be activated across the breadth of the story acts. By completing these bounties, which can be anything from destroying a bunch of mobs to completing a specific side quest or killing a particular boss, you earn far better loot and more experience and gold. It can be fun running through with friends or splitting up to take out the bounties quicker if that's something that you're into, but the real prize of the bounties is the Rift Keystones, which unlock the new Nephilim Rifts. Nephilim Rifts are the other big addition to the expansion, and the feature that I've probably had the most fun with friends doing. Using the keystone that you earned by doing bounties, you can unlock a portal to a randomized dungeon with unknown but powerful enemy compositions. Once you've cleared this initial Nephilim Rift, including a Rift Guardian boss, you can use the resultant Rift Key of Trials to open up a greater rift at a degree of difficulty determined by a simple wave defense. These greater rifts offer a huge amount of challenge with packs of monsters that have the most difficult abilities and properties. And did I mention that they're timed? Because they are. By clearing the greater rift within 15 minutes, you get the ability to upgrade your rift key to the next level and challenge yourself to a harder greater rift. So in this way, you kind of just keep going until you hit your sort of max level of greater rift, and then from there you can upgrade your gem, which is a new thing that you get in the expansion. There are legendary gems which fit into your sockets in items. If anyone's played D2 or D3, they'll know that there are sockets in items that you can fit these gems into, and those gems offer some really cool abilities. By leveling them up, by doing the greater rifts, you get even more powerful gems to use in your compositions. If all that seems a little bit complicated, that's because it kind of is. But to be honest, if you're the kind of person that enjoys playing games like Diablo 3, this is your bread and butter. Figuring out the best way to optimize your rift key runs and smash out bounties as quickly as possible, all the while tweaking your character to be the beastiest beast there ever beasted. Well, if you didn't like that kind of gameplay before, you're not going to now. But get a group of friends together over Mumble or TeamSpeak and it's a pretty fun co-op experience. Challenging yourself to get to the highest tier greater rifts is enjoyable, and the teamwork required to take out the mobs quick enough to make it through is really, really cool. Also, you get that really great feeling of when you kill the greater rift boss, and the massive fountain of loot that comes out that makes the nice casino-esque jingling sounds as they hit the floor, and you get the big beacons of orange or green for legendaries and sets as they hit the ground. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good feedback loop that they've got going. As for an overall recommendation, well, put it this way, if D3 had released with the features it has now, instead of the monumental balls up that the auction house was, I'd probably still be playing it now. If you have 3 mates willing to go with you on the journey and a love for optimizing characters and loot, it's a fun co-op experience. But if you're going to buy in it for the story or for the single player, you're going to be sorely disappointed. It's multiplayer only for me. If you like the community aspect of it and the optimization, go for it. Otherwise, give it a miss. As always, you can find us on the web at timandphill.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/timandphill, and on Twitter at timandphill. Thanks for listening. See you next time.